Looking to save money in your Porsche Macan ownership experience? This is one easy way to do it. I'm Marissa Simos here with FCP Euro, and today we're going to show you how to change out the engine air filters on your 95B Porsche Macan. So today we're going to be installing the engine air filters on this 95B Porsche Macan behind me. Some of the symptoms you might have before doing your air filters are you might notice that you're a little bit lacking on power and maybe even a little bit of fuel economy. If your air filters become insanely clogged, it's certainly possible that you could eventually develop a misfire, but usually it doesn't get that bad. You're going to want to stay up on your engine air filters, doing them about every year to 40,000 miles. Depending on your driving style and use case, you might also want to decide from this array of air filter selections we have here at FCP Euro. For today's video, we're going to install the two-piece, sometimes referenced as heavy-duty, Porsche Genuine air filters on this Macan behind me. As you notice, these have an additional foam filtration layer, and if you look on the inside, they have the same paper filter insert as the standard ones. Generally, the two-piece is recommended if you live in an area that can be very dusty, very sandy, very particulate prone. This will help trap some of those fine particles earlier on. If you're interested in a little bit more of that sports car feeling that some Macan owners love, you can go ahead and opt for something like BMC. These are a reusable filtration system, a little bit more high performance. They let a little bit more air flow in. You're going to get a little bit more intake noise, a little bump in horsepower, and they're also going to be reusable. So included, we highly recommend using their air filter cleaning and oiling solutions. This is so you can reuse them and keep them up to speed so you can actually benefit from that performance gain. Now for service intervals, you're going to want to follow Porsche standards, which is 1 year or every 40,000 miles. Here at FCP Euro, we understand that different people live in different regions, have different driving preferences and styles. You might want to shorten that to 20,000 miles depending on where you live, what your commute looks like, and how you use your Macan. And you don't need a lot of tools to do so. Looking in front of me here, I have a few tools that we may or may not need. I included a flashlight, T25 Torx bit screwdriver. Some people prefer to use a drill in this scenario. For today, we're just going to do it by hand. And a few additional picks just in case some of the plastic trim pieces in the housing assembly get a little bit caught or jammed up while we're removing them. Now that I've covered everything in front of me here on this table, let's go ahead and get this DIY started. Quick little fun fact for those who love their 95B Macan, if you didn't already know, you might notice that you have a rubber gasket here. That's because your air intake assembly actually also includes the hood. So you can see here we have a seating surface on the underside of the hood, and that's because this draws in air through these orifices here, which is fed in through the front grille design. Super cool, quirky little design feature that Porsche threw into the Macan platform. Really fun piece of information, but let's go ahead and proceed with the install for today. So now that we have the hood open, we're going to go ahead and start on the passenger side compartment. What you're going to want to do is use a little magnetic tray or something of the sorts here just as a place to keep all of the bolts if they come out when going to disassemble this intake system. These are going to be T25 bolts. Usually these stay within this plastic trim housing area here. Sometimes they might come apart, but they should stay within the housing itself when we go to free these up. A note while we're here is that you can go ahead and see the condition of your air filter assembly without actually having to take anything apart yet. And if you look at this one here, we can see that the foam unit is delaminating a little bit on this upper edge. Generally, it's a little bit harder to visualize the condition of the filter when you have the heavy-duty filters such as these, but regardless, it's due for a replacement. Perfect. And then just like that, with a little bit of finesse, you'll be able to free up this side, which will give you room to slide and pull the air filter out. Put this up here as well. Just like that. Give it a little kick out, lift it up, and you've pulled out one of your air filters. As you can see, we got a little bit of dust and sediment down here at the bottom. We'll just give this a quick wipe before we put the new air filter in. So as you can see, the filter that we pulled out had a little bit of a blown out O-ring here, indicating it wasn't properly sealed and located right. You're going to want to pay attention here to these locking, well, they don't necessarily lock, but locating tabs as they correlate with this side of the air filter housing here. So when you go ahead and you drop this in, you're just going to want to lean it out towards the engine, drop it all the way down, and then push outward, and you'll see it slides into place very nicely like so. From there, you're going to want to go ahead and drop this piece in like so, notating the orientation and making sure that you line up both sides. Like that. Then it's just assembly, reversive disassembly. And just like that, you've replaced the air filter on the passenger side of your Porsche Macan. Let's head on over to the driver's side where I can show you there's one additional step. Now, when you go to jumpstart on the driver's side, you're going to want to pay attention to this coolant pipe assembly here. This slides upward, but you're going to want to make sure that you go about it in a kind of gingerly way, because you don't want to overextend the coolant hoses here. So I just went very slowly once I got to the top, and I was able to release it off the bracket entirely, and now it sits free of the rest of the air filter housing. So with that aside, we can go on ahead and repeat the process just like it was for the passenger side. Now that you've gone ahead and put the air filter back on the driver's side, double check and make sure that you've put this clip totally locked down and seated for the coolant hoses here on this bracket. Otherwise, you've just completed both air filter installations on your Porsche Macan 95B. You've saved yourself quite a bit of money by doing so, and with our selection of products here at FCP Euro, you can choose the best one that fits your needs. I'm Marissa Simos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're looking for more Porsche 95B Macan content. I'll go ahead and see you guys on the next one.